Well, hello again. Welcome again to another reading. And we're going to be starting a new book today. The book is going to be entitled Wrecked but Rescued, or He Brings Them to Their Desired Haven. And it says, it's got a little rhyme here to start with. It says, the Father sent the Son, our ruined world to save. Men melt to their sinless one, the cross, the grave. Blest Substitute from God, wrath's awful cup he dredged, laid down his life and ere the tomb, reproach substained. Beautiful words. This book was put out by London G. Morris, Paulmaster Square, and this was in London. And this is out of the Grace and Truth Gospel series. And we went through book 1 and 2, and also, I'm trying to think, and 4, and this is book 7. I'm kind of bouncing all over. I'm going as the books become available, and these are old readings from back in the 1800s. And with that said, I'm going to skip the index here and get to the first article. And the first article is Mary the Poacher's Wife. Now here are, there, I think that's a big T. It's got that fancy writing. I don't know if you can see this or not. Oh, it changed. I moved it here now. Okay, let's see if it comes back. Okay. I'm not sure I can even do this. Yeah, there. Okay. You kind of got an idea what I'm looking at. All right. There was a heavy fall in snow, and I was watching it from the window for some time as it should shrouded the earth and mantled the trees and shrubs in the garden. Everything outside seemed to make me thankful for the comfortable within, and I am gladly drew my chair very close to the blazing fire to enjoy the cheerful warmth. My thoughts turned to many who knew no such comfort and could see no attraction in the fast falling snow or the feathery, fantastic outline it was giving to everything outside. My reserve was interrupted by a knock at the door, and someone once wished to see you in the kitchen. I went at once and found this girl from the village, and I knew for some time she had come to ask my husband to go and see poor women who was dying and refused to let her, any of her neighbors, go in to see her. And you could not go, said the girl, for her room is never clean and never had any air in it. She is a poacher's wife, and her husband a drunkard and neglects her. I will see her tomorrow, I said, if my husband has not returned home. And so said I went back to the fire and my own comfort, but I was restless and uneasy. The burden of that soul was upon me, and I repented again and again. Tomorrow she might be in hell. In a few moments, I was drawing my waterproof close around me, and I was making my way through the storm, praying all the way that the Lord would indeed give me the message for her, or from himself, and also that I might be guided to the right door. As it was getting dark and the snow falling faster each step, I I was the poor place I had been directing to do, a dirty court surrounded by a very poor house. At the last house on the left side, I stood before the door and asked the Lord to open it for me. I gently knocked and waited, and knocked again and waited, and tried to the latch, but got no answer. A woman from the next door looked out and says, "You need to bid in the calls and make she not let ye in." I stood close to the door for shelter from the drifting snow and prayed in silence, knowing that when God opens the door, no man can shut it. Once more I knocked and listened, and there was a slight movement inside. I put my mouth to the keyhole and said, "I have a message for you. Do let me in. Come in." Slowly the heavy wooden bolt was drawn back, and I found myself inside, and the bolt replaced. I had to lean upon the wall for a few moments of silence to recover the overpowering pressure of bad air that met me, and by the feeble light of the small oil cruise of a lamp, I saw an emaciated form of a young woman crouched on the low wooden stool by a few embers of a fire, just dying out, and wished she was vainly endeavoring to stir into life with a piece of wet stick she held in her hand. Seldom had I gazed at such a compassion upon anyone. She was young and seemed in a very last stage of disease. A hollow cough shook her fearful alteration frame from the back lining under her gray dark eyes, and the skin scarred covered her high cheeks, bones, and the skull. Settling melancholy of her own suffering face gave her a vast, gnawing appearing. She wore a tweed petticoat and a cotton short gown, so well known in the Highlands of Scotland, but both were in tatters, and her skeleton arms and limbs were exposed through the many holes. She gazed at me and said, "What's brought you here, and what's your errand? Because I heard you were sick and ill, and I had a message for you from one who loves sick and weary ones. Sit down, then, by dim tell." And she raised her feeble hand and pointed to two guns and a shot belt on the wall, and said in a large black riveted, "Who shows his head and great gazing eyes from below the bed, and growled at me from time to time, heeding little the voice that tried to hush him down with do range. And at this moment a knock came at the door, and a child's voice whispered, "Mama, it's me, let in." She opened the door and said, "Yes, little Johnny." And a dipped child of about 5 years old, capless and barefoot, came in and crouched beside his mother, his scarties and rags. I gotta skip all this. Garments dipped in the mud floor. Vanity, her feeling hands tried to wire out the wet from the pitfall of the petticoat, and as the little fellow continued to cry, she tried to soothe him by saying, "Dinna greet Johnny lad, your daddy will soon come. But I'm caused and hungry, Mom, and I can't bid nigh large my daddy's own line comes." And once more the little fellow sobbed aloud. The mother's weary head sank in her hands, and line of melancholy on her pale face grew darker and deeper. But hers was a sorrow deep for tears of words. I broke in upon it by saying, "Tell me, where has the child any food?" "No, sir, yes, sir, as far as I can." I ran to the cupboard board, and it was empty, save a few rabbit skins and some bird feathers. And I broke a bowl and a plate. "Have you no food of any kind in the house?" I said. "Nay, and my last bewildered went for coals, and there's done too." And again the tearless face sank in her hands. "Don't lock the door. I'll be back in a minute," I said. A shop quite near, furnished for the necessity things, had promise of cold in a half hour. I ran back, and oh, the joy of that shivering brain as he devoured what I had brought. His mother looked on too ill to share his meal, and tears rolling down her cheek. "You tender of the heart," said the poor woman. "It lang syne the shed of tears I did greet when my weary breed died, but no sigh. Poor woman, I longed after her soul in poverty and in sickness and sorrow and without Christ. How terrible! And yet the moment seemed not to have come for me to give God's message. I drew my stool near to her and talked one of her wasted hands in mine, and I asked a few questions as to how long she had been ill, etc. I, as a pointed to little Johnny, now in rosy sleep on the floor, I said, "You can trust me, can't you? Tell me of your troubles, for I want to help you." She said, "You're kind to face the storms and sick and niche, and sit down here to speak to me, and there's no money care for me, for Mary be the poacher's wife." "Your husband is a poacher," I said. "Tell me how you come to marry him." "Ah, I was but a brain when I married, and I thought ye trace was a guide as he promised I should wait for nothing but and the minced drink all he makes by the game, and seldom a feather or see the penny that he brings me. And there is a daunt let the body into the house, for fear that takes the dog and guns and catch himself a money day and bring and me nee see food nor fire. And I'm the weak that I'm ill at getting known to bed and calling where I am in it." I saw by the dim lamp lit it was a bed of shivers and nothing over it but a cotton patch quilt and a piece of old carpet. Well, I said, and what of your child who died? I have touched the couch of the chorus in the weary mother's tears hearts. Fewer tears rolled down her cheek, and she tried to steady her feeble voice and answer my questions. It's a 5 month thing since she was born. I was very ill after the doctors and the woman was with me had left me, came to see me after me, and John was out all day and often all night after the game. And I loved the wind and the knitting and the guitar, and I saw her dwelling and divine by my side, till all day she greed and weed short breaths and deed, and sighed, could I not look after or care for only thing for my brain this I want, and I keen the ween, and it girt since this is very odd language to my heart that didn't greet and didn't sleep, and I didn't. The cat and that. Then the couch came, and John brought the doctor, and he said it was declined and wouldn't mend. And it was true, for every day I seen weary, and some day I can't rise. And then the figured form of a wreck by the terrible fit of the couch, of the coughing, the silent prayers that the Lord would now give me the right words, as the paradox of coughing a little subsided. I took her hand and said, Mary, the message I bring you tonight is from the Son of God, the one who died to save sinners like you and me. And his message to you is this: come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Dear soul, you are in great need of rest. Will you come to him tonight? Well, I would faint have the rest, she says, but I'm no fit to come, and I'm no stranger left to gain and keen and the meeting, so I cannot come. Well, Mary, you're very weak and you're very sinful, but Christ has made provisions for just such as you. Have you strength to look at me, Mary? Yes, she says, and raising her heavy, sad eyes to mine. Well, Mary, I said, the Lord bids you look unto him and live. Does he? Oh, but I'm a poor, weak thing, and I know I'm a sinner, for I was taught that years ago at the Shundown, and I feel it every day. But there's none to care for me now, and I'm dying and going, I don't know where. Oh, what you became of poor Mary, the poacher's wife, and in an agony of soul she rocked herself to and fro, and tears long pented up around down through the worn cheeks. I wept too, for I saw she had judged herself a sinner, and that the Lord's time for her blessing had come. I opened my Bible and I read from Numbers 21, 5 through 9. And the people spake against God and against Moses. Wherefore have ye brought up out of Egypt to die in the wilderness? for there is no bread, neither there is any water, and our soul loatheth like bread. And the Lord sent fiery serpents among the people, and they bit the people, and much people of Israel died. Therefore the people came to Moses and said, We have sinned, for we have spoken against the Lord and against thee. Pray unto the Lord that he takes these serpents from us. And Moses prayed for the people. And the Lord said unto Moses, Make thee a fiery serpent, and set it upon a pole. And it shall come to pass that every one that is bitten, when he looks upon it, shall live. And Moses made a serpent of bronze, and put it on a pole. And it came to pass, if a serpent had bitten any man, when he beheld the serpent of bronze, he lived. After reading this, I said nothing, but waited upon God to apply his own words to that sin-stricken one. So near the end of her wilderness journey, a faint smile strolled over the lips, and she whispered, I'm just like one of them. Oh, I've spoke against God and said hard things to him many a day, when I was starving here and when the baby died. But there needs serpent of bronze for me to look on to now, and there's neither but hell for me. And again she wept. I opened the Bible to John 3:14-17. As Moses lifted up the serpent in the wilderness, so must the Son of Man be lifted up, that whosoever believes in him should not perish but have everlasting life. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believes in him should not perish but have everlasting life. For God sent his Son into the world. For God sent not his Son into the world to condemn the world, but that the world through him might be saved. Oh, she clasped her hands together in instant relief. It is true, it is true. Then I can be happy. He gave his Son for me, and I shall never perish. I know I am a sinner, but Jesus died for me. Me. Oh, thank ye for coming to me with the message. And she clasped her hands and kissed it again and again. Shall we thank God together? I said, yes, yes. And kneeling on the mud floor, we thanked him who so loved Mary, the poacher's wife, that he gave his only begotten Son for her, that she might live through him. It was getting late. I helped poor Mary into the bed of shivers, left her sleeping boy by her side, and lit the fire and made some tea. Once more I looked at Mary and felt reproved for the faithlessness of my heart, which had doubted for a moment the reality of all this. So quietly had her soul passed from death into life, but my eyes and my accepted Christ so simply that I could scarcely believe it. But a look at the calm face, and she rested on the bosom of the Lord, was enough to put away every doubt, and I could only praise him as I said good night. Mary, I shall see you tomorrow if the Lord wills. She gave me such a look, and I shall never forget, and said, Oh, it is rest. Come unto me, all you labor and heavy laden, and I will give you rest. I left her full of thanksgiving, joy, and made my way home through the snow. Next day I saw her early and found her sinking but full of joy. And through the kindness of a Christian friend and comfortable bed was provided for her, and I had her room cleaned, and the windows, which had been nailed down for years, open, and a little fresh air led into the sick room. For all this she seemed grateful, but her heart was with the Lord, and she desired to be with him. Each day I saw her for the 2 or 3 weeks she remained on earth, and we read and prayed together, and several of the Lord's people visited her, and were satisfied that she was resting in unclouded peace on the finished works of him whom came to seek and to save that which was lost. I saw her a short time before she fell asleep in Jesus. She pointed me to come near her. Her husband was in the room, and I saw she had some last words for me, and I drew near. I'll maybe no see you again, but we meet born, and kissed my hand several times, and she said, Ye love we, for ye carry a message from God to me. And so ye passed here never to meet again, till in the presence of him who died for sinners. Well, if you listen to this message, I know not who you are, old or young or rich or poor, but this I know. If you have not accepted Christ, you are surely lost and going to hell. What a sad thing. And there is salvation for you now, if you will have it. And like this poor Mary, take God at his word. You too can be saved this moment, if you rest upon the finished works of him who gave his life for you. And my friend, that concludes our reading for today. And that was the first story from this new book. I hope you enjoy these stories. I know I do. I enjoy reading them, and I hope you enjoyed listening to them. With that said, bye for now. God bless.